Hey, what's up everybody? Cole Vanhoff here with Alliance Wake for another gear guide review for 2022. Right in front of me, we've got the Slingshot Coaster and a 5.0. Let's jump into this thing and check it out. All right, so this board from Slingshot is a pretty big board overall. So, with that comes obviously a really easy ride. It's also a really fast ride, and it's a pretty free-feeling ride, right? It is kind of a hybrid, majority of it's skim style, but it definitely has some surf style, starting off with the fins on the back. We have 3 fins. They are normal screw-in fins, so you can't customize your fins, which depending on if that's something you want, you might want to look elsewhere. Slingshot does have some other models that you can pop fins in and out and put whatever, style fins you want. But you're stuck with the 3, you can run the 2, you can run the 1 in the back, or honestly, you can run, finless if you wanted to. Like I said, this is a skim style board, so the rocker line is pretty flat overall, which gives you a really fast speed. Honestly, this board, I would put a lot of beginners on because you're just gonna be able to stay in the wave very easy. It's effortless to ride, and I wouldn't worry about putting any beginner and them not being able to have a good time surfing. Now the layup of the board, it's got kind of a carbon layup, so it is pretty sturdy, pretty strong. It's definitely not as soft as like a typical foam core for a surfer. So you do have that going on. If we look up at the nose here, we have a little bit of a mild nose rocker. That's just gonna be nice for when you're coming on those bottom turns and stuff that you're not gonna dig the nose in and drive that board into the water. Another thing that I think is really nice, you've got the pintail on the back here, and that makes it really easy to pivot and maneuver the board. So even though it's a pretty big board, it's actually not hard to maneuver this thing the way you want to. Enough of that mumbo jumbo, let's jump into the categories and see what this thing stacks up. So the first one we look at is stays and wave. We go 1 through 10 with this, and 1 is you're falling out the back, you can't stay with the wave. 10 means it's super fast, you're almost running into the boat. Now this board comes in at a 10 on the scale, and when I put it at a 10, just understand that it's so easy to stay in the wave. It's really fast. It's not the most buoyant board, but it's very wide, so you have a lot of surface area to hold you up. Obviously, if you're a bigger dude, that score will change, but for me being 6'2", 180 pounds on a 5-foot board, I had no problem staying in the wave. The next thing we're gonna check out is carve. We go 1 through 10 with this as well. 1 meaning it's a really bad, kind of out of control, unpredictable. 10 means it's locked in, really good carving. And this board lands right at a 5 because it is a pretty wide board, so it's more of a cruiser. It's not made to be ripping turns, but the pintail and the sharp edges and stuff, you can still get some really decent turns out of it. Next category is pop, and when we go pop, we go 1 through 10 like everything else. And 1 is gonna be no pop, 10 is gonna be to the moon. This board right here lands on a 3 on the scale. Just because it's a very big board to maneuver, this thing is made to cruise around. It's not made to do a bunch of crazy tricks. I'm sure if you drop down in sizes, that could change a little bit, but overall, this board's just made to cruise and stay in the wave and gives, beginner to intermediate people a good wake surfing experience. Then that leads us to our last category, which is gonna be the ability scale, 1 through 10. 1 is gonna be beginners, and 10 is going to be expert. If we put, a lower score, which this thing is actually gonna land at a 3 on the scale, so that's gonna be more toward the beginners, right? You can obviously do a little bit more intermediate tricks on this. You could, get some nice good carving, some decent pop out of it, but this is really gonna be a board that you're gonna wanna put new people on and get them out there on the water to have a good time and not struggle. So yeah, that about wraps it up for the Slingshot Coaster for 2022. I really think that this board is just made to get people on the water and have a good time. I think if you're looking for something to add to the quiver, this could be one of those. If you want to know all the sizes, a little more information, or maybe pick one of those up, head over to slingshotsports.com and check them out. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any future reviews coming out. I'm Cole, and we'll see you on the next one.